Okay, so let's get into the story of this giant's fall. We all think we know this one, right? Netflix came along and just wiped out the video store. But the real story? Well, it's way more complex than that. And it holds this huge lesson about confusing how you make your money with why you're in business in the first place. So, picture this. Our story kicks off in a boardroom. The year is 2000, and the founders of this tiny, cash-strapped little startup called Netflix, they've flown all the way to Dallas. Why? To meet with the absolute, undisputed king of home video, Blockbuster. And they walk in with a proposal that, well, could have changed literally everything. And that was the price. $50 million. For $50 million, Netflix offered to sell itself, lock, stock, and barrel, to Blockbuster. The idea was actually pretty simple. Netflix would become Blockbuster.com and run the whole online side of things, while Blockbuster would just keep on dominating with its thousands of physical stores. To us, this sounds completely insane. It's like one of the biggest business blunders in history. But seriously, how could they get it so wrong? Well, to understand that, we gotta stop looking at it with our perfect 2020 hindsight. We have to try and see the world from their perspective, from the very top of the mountain. So let's fast forward a little bit to 2004, a few years after that big meeting. If you really want to know how Blockbuster saw itself, we don't have to guess. We can look directly at a presentation they gave to their investors. This isn't speculation. This is their own story, in their own words. What just jumps off the page here is the pure confidence. I mean, according to them, they were the top dog, a global brand, financially solid with a great team. From where they were sitting, they weren't just a company, they were an absolute empire. And you know what? This shows you exactly why they were so confident. Just look at these numbers. Their revenue was just climbing and climbing, hitting nearly $6 billion by 2003. When your sales are going up like that year after year, it's incredibly hard for anyone to convince you that your entire business model is broken. And here's the kicker. They even had a vision for the future. It's right there. They saw an online component. So it's not like they were completely clueless about the internet. But, having a vision on a slide is one thing. Actually being able to execute on it, that's a whole other story. Because behind that shiny exterior of strength and all that growth, there were two huge problems just eating away at the company from the inside. And they made any kind of real change pretty much impossible. So here's problem number one. When Blockbuster was spun off from its parent company Viacom in 2004, it got loaded up with almost $1 billion in debt. $1 billion. Debt like that, it's like a giant anchor. It just drags you down and makes it almost impossible to invest in new things or take any real risks. This timeline really puts it all into perspective. So in 2000, they reject Netflix. That's a massive missed opportunity. But in 2004, they get hit with that crippling debt. And then the real nail in the coffin comes in 2007, when the CEO who was actually pushing for online expansion gets forced out. You basically had a civil war happening inside Blockbuster. The CEO, John Antioco, he wanted to get rid of those late fees everyone hated and invest big time in an online model. But a powerful investor, Carl Icahn, he fought tooth and nail to protect the stores and that super profitable late fee money. The old model won the internal battle, but it was about to lose the entire war. So with a mountain of debt, a leadership team at war with itself, and a business plan stuck in the past, Blockbuster's attempts to fight back against Netflix were, well, just too little, too late. And look, they did try. They launched a service called Total Access, and it was actually pretty popular. The only problem? It was a money pit. They lost $2 every single time someone exchanged a movie in a store. They even bought a streaming service, but because of their debt, they couldn't afford to buy any good content to put on it. It was just a series of desperate moves from a company that was financially handcuffed. Just look at this table from their own presentation. They thought all those checkmarks were a strength, that offering more was better. But it was actually their biggest weakness. They were trying to be everything to everyone. Meanwhile, Netflix was just laser-focused on doing one thing, online subscriptions, and doing it perfectly. And then came the tipping point. The 2008 financial crisis hit, and the movie studios, who used to give Blockbuster 90 days to pay for DVDs, suddenly demanded cash on the barrelhead, up front. Blockbuster, drowning in debt, had no cash. No cash meant no new movies for the shelves. And for a video store, that's game over.
Okay, so let's get to the end of the story and the big essential lesson we can all learn from this absolutely epic collapse.
In 2010, just 10 years after they left Netflix right out of their office, Blockbuster, this global giant with over 9,000 stores, officially filed for bankruptcy. So, what was the ultimate failure? They confused their business model with their mission. They thought their business was physical stores and late fees. That was just how they made money. Their actual mission, their whole reason for existing, was to deliver entertainment to people's homes conveniently. The stores were just one way to do it. By protecting the model, they abandoned the mission, and so their customers abandoned them. The story of Blockbuster really isn't just about Netflix or streaming. It's a timeless warning that no company is too big to fail. It shows that clinging to a successful past is the surest way to have no future. And it leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. Who is next?